And we're going to go into story time, Bachelor Pad story time, because one of the segments we're going to do is story time on our, I don't know, do you want to do midget and hot tub? Do you want to do, we'll leave it up to Big T, right? Leave it up to Big T. Do we do midget and hot tub? Do we do my big girl story? I like the big girl story.
I think
actually
we
have
do
to stay.
Biggin first because that was the first one of the myth, and that was actually what was brought up. Or actually, no, it was a different story that was brought up.
That facilitated the.
But I think that given the context of this conversation, I think the big girl story is a good one that we'll feed into my version of it. And I think we'll segue into the precursor to the midget and then the midget story.
So hogging. Right? Hogging is a thing. We're going back to, our 21-year-old days and whatever. Hogging, rum. So Ray comes in, and that's why the universe, right? Ray's come up a couple times. I don't like Ray. I haven't talked about Ray. Something bad's going to happen to Ray or something. I don't know. Or Ray's going to fucking pull up here and go, hey, man, I was thinking about you, and knock on the front door. So he comes in to the bar, and he's like, hey, man, this girl I'm dating or this girl I just met and, dating or whatever, she's coming up, and she's, pretty cool chick, really hot. And I was like, dude, good for you. I think she's bringing a friend. This is good. We banged the friend, right? The friend. Anytime, girls, you're going to meet your new guy and he's got his friends and whatever, all his friends want to bang you, right? Even the ones that are in relationships or whatever, because it's your buddy's friend's chick person. So you want to bang. Well, they're there. She walks in, and I'm like, oh, look at her. She's wearing a sassy jean jacket, right? It's a country bar. She's even dressed to the part. She comes in, and she's wearing her nice little getup, and I went, oh, nice. Well, in walks behind her, fucking Shamu with legs. And I'm not saying this, right? Big people, you carrying a couple extra pounds or whatever. I've been there. Everyone's been there. You like to eat.
And I think the clothing ought to really identify the size on this.
Yeah, it was something that not many people know, but it's called a moo-moo, right? It's a moo-moo. It is as if she was wearing a shirt or a sheet, and a hole was cut out, and it was draped across her neck, and it was like long and gowny, like, over her arms, like, trying to de-accentuate the gigantic arms that she had. And then she had like another shirt or a sheet turned sideways and like Velcroed around her midsection. Now, when I tell you at the time, and this is funny because I was extremely small, Jake, too, right? So I was running every day at lunch and doing whatever. So I was like maybe 175, 180 pounds. I had my hair pulled back in a ponytail, looking Nirvana grunge days and whatever. So I'm an odd looking me to begin with, but I'm a little me, right? Jake's normally a 230, 240 guy. This is 175-pound version of me. I can get a whole lot of chicks. The 175, I had abs and a 32-inch waist, and they had a little play in the middle, and I could have done some stuff. This big creature walks in, and I went, oh, and my buddy taps me, and he was like, dude, Hoggin, room. And I was like, no, there's still other viable women in this bar. That doesn't qualify. There is no hogging. That is beyond hog. That is, sea.
That has an orbit.
Yeah, that is a sea urchin, right? Like, I don't know. I feel her gravity. It's freaking me out. So
the attractive women are floating around her.
Yeah, every time I try and grab them, it's as if they're on a carousel. I don't know what's happening. So I'm like this big creature, right? So we're sitting there and, a little bit of jokes. Well, the bartenders at this bar had like a gun holster from the old Wild West days, right? Like it crisscrossed across them, and they had shot glasses in them. And they had two things like where guns would be, and that was Jose Cuervo, right? Tequila. I don't drink tequila. Tequila's a horrible friggin' thing. I don't understand it. Don't get it, my Mexican friends. This shit's horrible. They were $1 tequila shots, so we must have done like 10 tequila shots a piece. So now we're wrecked. This big son of a gun is standing there. We're pretty close to the men's restroom. I don't know what we were talking, or we were getting ready to pee or something. She grabs the top end of a glass beer bottle. So she grabs it like so, with her index finger and thumb holding the neck of it right at the very top. And amidst normal conversation, she turns and takes the fat end of the beer bottle into her mouth, and it goes down her throat to where her finger and thumb are in her mouth. So she like sword swallows this friggin' glass bottle. I'm holding a beer bottle in my hand, and I look, and I'm baffled. I can't turn away. I'm like, whoa. Like, I thought she was kidding. Like, I had to move my head to the side to make sure she wasn't just doing the fake one like it's on the side. And then pulls it out. And I shook my head and started laughing, and I walked into the bathroom, which was like 4 steps away. And I walk into the bathroom taking a piss. fucking, oh. And I'm looking at the beer bottle in one hand. I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh. So I come out of the bathroom, and I'm shaking my head. And they're all looking at me, and they go, what was that all about? And I went, I don't know. I was like, I just went and took a piss. I was holding my dick in one hand. I'm holding the beer bottle in the other. I was like, I don't know where you trained or how you learned that, but that's fucking impressive, girl, right? Good job to you. Good day. Hey. So went back to drinking. So that's all I remember, right? At that point, I think I blacked out. I was like, dude, this lady could swallow a sword, do all kinds of crazy stuff. So we're getting ready to leave, and my buddy Ray goes, hey, man, we're going back over to my girl's house. And I said, well, that's cool. You guys have a great time. Drop me off at the house, right? You go up like 3 miles, turn left 1, drop me off, go do whatever it is you're doing. Because, he was like, dude, you got to do this. You got to go hogging. I was like, what in your right mind would lead you to believe that I would, number 1, do this? Number 2, maybe she's cool with doing this, that your chick friend's not going to be somehow put off the fact that I'm going to do this for story's sake. And I was like, it's not happening. Take me home. He doesn't listen, right? So a lot of this story credit goes to Ray. Ray's a dickbag. Don't like him anymore. But the story exists because of Ray. So he drives right past our turn, goes to the young lady's house. So goes to the young lady's house. We get in, or we're in the car, and it's like 22 degrees, right? It's wintertime, Detroit, and I'm like, it's like 22. I'm like, I'm not getting out of the car. I was like, that was a dick move. I'm not going in there. He was like, dude, you're gonna freeze out here. I was like, I've drank enough alcohol. I'll make it until morning, right? I've seen like hiking movies where they get caught in an avalanche. I was like, I'm inside of a vehicle. I'll be fine. The cold kind of sets in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in the house, but I'm not doing it. And I go, dude, if you play with me, I'm going to tell on you, and I'm going to ruin your chances for getting laid tonight. Walk in the house, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to grab a beer. I'm going to go pass out on the couch, right? I'm that wasted, like stumbly wasted. So walk in the house. Hey, blah, 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 blah. Ray starts busting my balls again. We're like, oh, vroom, vroom. He keeps saying it under his breath and whatever. And I was like, you want to keep playing with me, guy? I was like, hey, come here. I know you just met Ray. I was like, but he's being really insensitive and being kind of a douchebag. I should go hogging and ride your friend as if she's some kind of fucking gigantic motorcycle. Yeah, farm animal or farm equipment or something or whatever. Like he's telling me go hogging or whatever. And I go, look, I don't know. I feel offended for her. And she's right there so she can hear the conversation. The girl looks at me with kind of a look that I don't know. I don't know the girl, but her face expression changes and she goes, oh my God, would you please? She needs to get laid more than anybody on this planet. And I went, fucking you too? I was like, you were my last hope. I was like, she's a fucking person. She's a big fucking person, but she's a person. Look at the size of that thing. And I go, look, sister. I go, that's a dick move. And I go, fuck you, Ray. And now I understand why you two like each other. But here's the deal. I'm not having sex with that fucking giant fucking woman. And there's not enough alcohol in this house that could convince me to have sex with that fucking giant woman. She was like, oh, you don't think so? And I go, you line it up, sister, and you can preach your side of the argument all you want, but it's not happening. I'll die at this fucking table before I bang this gigantic fucking sea monster, right? She's sitting right there, right? I'm just mad, and I don't want to be here. I want to go night-night. So they set up like 3 beers, 3 wine coolers, like a quarter fifth of amaretto, a quarter fifth of some low budget vodka, airline shooters, and something else. I don't know, but it was a fair amount of alcohol, right? So I sat there and I'm like, watch this. I was like, dude, I'm gonna drink till I pass out, right? I just need out of this situation. So we're drinking, and I
teleport to tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. It'll be fine. I won't have any recollection of what's happening. So I drink all this stuff, right? And somewhere I get about halfway through it, and now I'm really wrecked. They're pleading a very good case. And I'm thinking to myself, right, because I'm a smart guy, I think to myself, I've never had a bad blowjob. Never had a bad blowjob. Again, my affinity now that I only want to have blowjobs because of less work, less effort on my behalf. And I went, you know what? I was like, you know what? Fuck it. You guys go to bed. I was like, you want me to fuck Big Rob? Fuck Big, take your ass to bed. So I go sit next to the big son of a gun on the couch, right?
I thought you were watching TV first.
She was watching.
Decision.
No. I was still at the table. But
okay.
As I walked over, I sat next to her, and there was TV. She's watching TV, so I sit down next to her. Sit down. It's awkward as balls, right? I'm sitting next to her, and I'm like, not looking at her, right, because I don't want to look. There's a huge mass next to me. And I'm looking, and I went, all right. So I kind of leaned my head over to the side and whatever. No, don't really look at her, but I'm like, hey, kind of elbow the mass,
Shrug.
right? It's kind of elbow the mass, and I'm trying
Nudge,
to figure
nudge.
out range, right, in case I'm like accosted or trying to be eaten. So I kick out my elbow in a chicken dance, wonka 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 wonk, you know. So I hit her a couple times with my fucking elbow, right? Doesn't seem to phase her. Don't know if she can feel it. And I said, hey, that trick you did with the beer bottle, was pretty impressive. I said, what do you think I get a look at that trick just using something other than the beer bottle, right? I feel I'm classy and clever with this, right? Because I'm saying it but not saying it, right? I could have meant a coffee cup, could have meant any other things, right? If she's offended, I'm still, what are you talking about? Dude, go fucking eat something. Show me what else you can shove down your gullet, right? She says, as matter of fact and quickly, or I was that slow and that drunk, I'm not just going to fucking suck your dick. And I went, okay, cool. I can go back I took the remote from her. I was like, cool, I can watch TV. Shit, I like MTV, like here we go. We got the real world, right? So I just start clicking. I'm like, shit, I'm cool. So in the process, as I'm clicking through the channels, right? I'm in mid-channel, right? I'm waiting for it to like click to the next. She reaches over and just kind of like paws my pant leg and just roar. See, unzips and fucking vroom. And she was crafty for having such large hands and whatever.
Having sausage fingers.
Yeah, and mind you,
accurate.
she wasn't like a tubby 5'2", which I can deal with it. Dude, the shorter you are, the more shit you get away with, right? And black women, right? I'll bang a big black woman, bang a tall black woman. I like black women. You get a lot of passes for me on that, right? Like a white chick who would weigh this much and look that way, I wouldn't, but I find it more attractive on a black girl. I don't know why, right? It's a thing. I'll look into it. But she was like 5'9", 5'10", right? So she's like 5'10" and weighed like 285 pounds, right? I didn't think I got into this, but like 5'10", 5'11" maybe, and like 285 pounds, which is really big on something that has literally no muscle tone, right? So she reaches over and just, and dude, like opening a ho-ho wrapper, she unzips, pulls my cock out, navigates the front of the boxers, which can be troublesome. I almost peed on myself when we took a break here a few minutes ago, right? Because it's got a button in the middle, and I'm like, get out the bottom. And I got like 3/4, so it was kind of hard I kind of like just hoped to pee through the spot. So she goes through all of this, right? Pulls out my cock and starts to blow me. And I went, huh? My buddy and his chick are still at the table, right? So I'm like, you guys can go now. You see it's underway, right? I'm going to get a beeger. You guys lose, right? Because I'm not climbing on top of this thing, nor is it climbing on top of me. So I'm looking at them. They walk down the hall. So I'm getting a beeger. Well, in midst of beej, she's got her left hand, right? She's got her left hand on my cack, and she paws me like a fucking polar bear or a black bear that you see in the woods. We're like, roar. So she's holding me like an apple stem by my cock and bats me, like hits me on the shoulder, and it fucking hurt. And she cleared me clear off the couch. So I went from sitting on the couch to on the ground. She never let go of the penis, right? So she had the penis and continued to blow. And I went, I was like, that's fucking rude. You just knocked me off the couch with one hand. Like, dude, I need to start eating or lifting again, right? Because this fucking thing just pawed me like a goddamn grizzly bear, knocked me off the couch. So she's blowing me, but I'm still getting blown, right? There's a thing, like there's a lot I'll deal with in the throes of some form of Jiggy's getting to where he needs to be. So she's blowing me, right? Well, she stands up in midst of, and again, a nimble creature for her fucking size, right? So she stands up, and if you've ever seen sumo wrestling, where they look at each other and they go, oi, oi, and they hit both legs and they do a stomp. It's weird, the sumos and the Hawaiians, they do a similar move, right? When they, oi. So she does this, and she's standing over me now, and I'm paralyzed in fear and, again, in general admiration of her nimble ability to move around at that size. So I'm looking, and I went, oh, and she begins to lower herself, right? I'm expecting to hear the beep, beep, beep when heavy equipment is backing up or lowering, and I'm like, oh, what is she doing? This could not be good for me, right? So she reaches down again in some weird like yoga pose and whatever before yoga was in vogue, and grabs my cock and puts it into like a midair refueling, right? And she sits on top of me, and I'm like, this is happening. She begins to jiggle and, joscillate a little bit on top.
The wrong parts are jiggling.
Well, and she takes off this is how I figured out how the moo-moo was put together, right? She pulls off the top sheet, and she has remarkably small boobs for a girl that size, right? Like, they were more like, it was just really weird.
Yeah, when the belly extends further.
Well,
right?
the belly and the side and whatever. It was very Humpty Dumpty-esque, right? And with not very good boobs, so I kind of did like a dog hearing a weird sound, like right, like turned my head and kind of
right?
like those are weird. Because the only thing I could have got out of is she had cool nipples, right? I needed a place to call home, and I'm like, I'm hitting these flapjack like weird boobs, and I'm like, that's not even cool. Well, I hear almost like your laugh coming from down the hall. I look. There's fucking Ray, right? Ray's a dick. I think we've
covered that.
We've
Ray's a
hammered
dick.
this one down. Ray's a dick with his girlfriend. Ray's bent over in a hunch style, and she's on his back, and they're peering around the corner.
Like
and
Scooby-Doo style.
yeah,
just
it was like, oh, what's going on there? There's ghosts and goblins, except it was a gigantic chick hovering on top of me, and like just bing, bing, and it wasn't pleasant, right? It was just.
My legs go numb every other second.
I'm like, what is happening? I can't even feel anything. I don't know what's happening, and I'm like, oh. So I look and I went, I was like, and they're laughing hysterically and holding each other's mouths and whatever. So she's like, boom. So I catch her on an upstroke, right? Because now I feel like I'm in Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Like that giant boulder's coming and booby traps are coming. Except I have this giant woman on my fucking lap, right? So, and I've wrestled and I've been in physical sports, right? So I kind of hook her fucking leg with mine. So I kind of hunch down a little bit. I hook her gigantic calf and whatever with my ankle. I wait for her to go on an upstroke, and when I do, I take her momentum and I shove with all my might and flip her over on her back. Well, I think it was side, and I think she just kind of flopped over on her back. So I went, now she's laying there in all her fucking glory, right? With just fucking humongousness of everything, and the sheet is like stuck around like a hula hoop, almost like Saturn's ring, just not in orbit, right? It's just kind of fucking laying there. So I'm looking, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. So and I'm staring right at my buddy in the eye and his whore rag of a friend that's making this possible, right? For paying her apartment bill for me to bang this gigantic creature. So I begin to start cranking away, right? So I'm cranking away. And I was at a country bar, right? And I'm half raised between Detroit and Texas, right? So I'm fucking pumping away, and I'm looking at them dead in the eye, right? I don't even know what's underneath me, right? I could be fucking a couch cushion at this point. I'm like, yeah, you motherfucker. Yeah, that's what you want to see? So I look, and I smack her on her side, right? I'm like, whap. I'm like, yeah, come on, you big motherfucker. Come on, you big girl. Get up now. Yeah. Get up, doggy, right? So I'm just fucking cranking. They are now laughing and rolling around in the hallway, right? So I'm fucking out of spite, right? This is more your move.
Right.
So I'm cranking. I'm like, yeah, come on, big girl. She reaches back and grabs the fucking vertical blinds, right? That are in front of the sliding glass door. The ones that are like, 6 foot tall blinds things. And she's like, and she grabs them. And now she's dislodging these fuckers, right? So this is maybe where I felt like I was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, because things are falling at me. I'm trying to dodge, and I'm like, fucking, what is pieces of plastic coming from, right? And I look down, and now I'm kind of amused because she seems to be enjoying it, right? She's ripping shit off the wall. She's a big girl, right? I keep referencing she's bigger than normal. So she's ripping fucking things out of the wall. They're falling at me, and I'm like, all right, and I'm dodging, and I'm cranking away. And as I'm going, right, I think I'm doing damage, right? I'm talking big shit. And come on, you big motherfucker. Get this dick, you big son of a bitch. You, giddy up, fucking. And it's funny because I'm almost laughing as I'm doing it. And I didn't pre-think any of this. It just seemed right. Seemed the thing to do. I watched Ponderosa and John Wayne movies with my granddad, right? So I'm hollering out everything I've heard in a Western ever in life while I'm having sex with this girl. So as I'm on an outstroke, right, like a piston engine, right, I'm young and I'm virile and I'm just fucking cranking away on this giant mound of woman. And as my fucking hip, as my hips retract back, ready for the next plunge, right, she reaches up with one hand and grabs my fucking hip and waist bone and stops me dead in my tracks. And stops, and I'm like, oh, what's happening, right? Dude, I'm fairly certain this girl could, like, beat
Crush
me.
you, yeah.
So she stops all momentum, and I'm confused. Dog look again. Like, what's happening? She reaches up, and she grabs my cock. And I'm looking down at what she's doing, and she grabs my penis and goes, you ever see, like, those 18-wheelers, right, where they're driving?
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit, like Jerry Reed, right? And he's like, and 18-wheelers, I don't know 18 wheels. I don't know how many gears a thing has. In my mind, it's like 18 gears. But I know there's always that one that's over there that never wants to go in. The gears grind. It's like, and they plug it in, and that seems cool. I can leave it alone, and now I'm trucking, right? So she grabs my penis. She begins to wiggle it around like you got your car in neutral in a 5-speed, right? And she's just joggling back and forth in neutral, and then goes and plugs this thing in, and
Right
I
in the
look,
first.
and I'm like, oh, and I look, I was fucking her leg fold, right? Like a sumo wrestler. You ever look like you're like giant babies that have all those leg folds? So, and I don't know if it's because I'm really wasted, but I'm looking down at the leg and the what should be the V crease and the stomach crease, and all I see are creases. So I was in the wrong one. I'm looking back at the one I was just in. It was fucking perfectly fine. It felt great. I
mean, pork chops just made you a fat dog.
And I was thinking about maybe going for, but I'm off in a leg fold over here. She plugs it in the middle, which there's no discernible, like, it may not actually be the vagina, but that's where she wanted it. But I couldn't tell you, if you took a map of this from fucking space, you couldn't have picked out the vagina in this sea of crevices, right? So I went, oh, okay, so that's where I was supposed to be, eh? Feels no different, no better, no worse than where I was, right? So I could have called other people over, like, Ray, come on. We're not going to be friends in the fucking future. Get a piece of this leg fold, right? Like, get in the side. Dude, I could have fit 3 or 4 other people into the fucking creases that I had going on there. So I'm pumping away like crazy, right? And now I'm like, okay, the alcohol's starting to hit, right? Which seems to be a common thing. I'm now feeling like somewhat nauseous and whatever. But I figure I'm doing this, and in the young version of me, I'm going to come. I'm going to come on this fucking giant woman, right? I have to, because I've done all this. If I didn't come, it's like a tree in a forest, and no one was there to see it, whatever. If there's no mess made, yeah, I got to do it. So I'm cranking away. I close my eyes. I think I tweak my own nipples, like, oh, come on. Like, I'm thinking, and I think the weird thing was, like, either the fall guy, like Heather Thomas or Farrah Fawcett. Like, I had to go that deep and that, like, iconic of a female, like, just, yep, I'm banging her and whatever. Like, I had the Farrah Fawcett, and I think it went to Fall Guy for a minute, and I was confused, right? Because there's a brown truck, and it's jumping ship. It also has Heather Thomas. She was also a pretty hot blonde lady. And I just, all of a sudden, all the body clinches, and I pull out, and I do the thumb over the garden hose, right? I take, and I'm like, because I'm going to come on you, right? And there's a lot of area to cover, right? So it's like, if you're just normal garden hosing, right? Like just bing, bing, bing. I put my thumb over the crease, over the penis mouth, and it shot out both sides, like as if, like a snake tongue, right? It just, and I went yoink, yoink, yoink. And it came a lot. It came more than I would have intended, right? But I guess it was a lot of effort. So I'm hosing her down with the wide spray, and I'm like, yoink, yoink, yoink. And as soon as the last one does, I avert my eyes from what I just did. I did take a glance and was like, oh, I covered a lot of ground there. That was a good one. And I got up and I went, oh, the alcohol. I'm going to vomit or shit myself. One or the other. I don't know. And I begin to walk to the kitchen. They were cooking hamburger helper in a pan. And I went, oh, I need to eat something or I'm going to die. Right? This is not good. Like, this is not how it was supposed to end. So I go and I grab, and I don't want to just like eat with hands, but I've never been in this apartment, right? So I don't know where they keep their utensils. It can be a struggle. You think it'll be here. People put shit in weird places. Well, they had the fucking wooden spoon and fork, like the oversized wooden spoon and fork that like not Hansel and Gretel, but Alice in Wonderland shit when they shrunk. It was a fucking giant fucking spoon fork thing. And I went, nah. So I take it off the fucking wall. I grab the whole pan full of fucking goddamn hamburger helper, and I begin to dip this giant fucking thing, and I'm smearing it all over my face, and I'm eating. She's mopping herself up in the kitchen, and I'm like, oh, this is good. I go sit on the couch, and I just sit there eating out of my giant, Alice in Wonderland spoon, watching TV. Ray comes out of the thing, and I immediately just dropped everything I had. Like, I set it on the couch with a gigantic spoon fork, went, grabbed him, walked out of the door, right? So walk out of the door. That's the last thing I recall. So I wake up, 6 hours later, I wake up in the basement. Everything seems foggy in a dream. I can't remember anything that's really happened, right? So, it takes a few minutes to get the clarity back. And as I begin to look around, I'm like, nobody's in the house. Nobody's in the basement. Let me go upstairs to the main floor. Nobody's here or whatever. I was like, why is it so quiet? I'm hungover as balls. I don't think it's rivaling one of the better times I've been drunk, right? And even the young you is much more apt to deal with that said drunkenness. Well, I start hearing some noises, and I'm like, what is that? Is somebody out front? So I open the fucking front door, and I walk out, and as I'm making my way out the front door, I'm like, I see Ray's car, and he's washing his car, and I'm like, the fuck's this guy washing his car? Why isn't he hungover like me? And I walk out, and I see like 7 cars parked on one side of the street and like 3 on the other. I turn, every guy friend I know is there, right? And I look, and I'm like, the fuck is this? What are you guys doing, right? I'm fucking wasted. Sun's out. Why are you guys washing cars? Fuck. I look, my buddy Mildew has a broom. He looks at me and goes, yeah, come on, big girl, yeah, and begins riding the broom down the fucking thing. They all were, it's like before flash mobs were a thing, they flash mobbed me about my sex. And now it's all coming back to me like,
Which now adds another story. I have to tell my flash mob with the random people your brother invited over to the house, his weird gamer friends that passed out in my media room.
I don't know of this story.
You didn't know this one? Mm-mm. We did we played some Britney Spears song, and I man-thong flash mobbed them.
Oh my God, isn't that on video somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing. Please post that to the Bachelor Pad
Yeah, we ought to do that.
radio website.
I'll talk to Jordan. She'll have it.
Yeah. And that was so that was the Hoggin. That was the big girl. That story's been told in most of the the connected continental United States. Like in every, that is the you never guess what this guy did. And just for future references, we're probably going to wrap it up because we should go home. The dog's been home forever and I'm hungry. But you and I in a hot tub with a midget. Travis banged the midget. There's also cool, weird ways in which that happened, right? Don't be a mo, right?
Don't be a mo.
Bachelor Pad rule number 86, if you are having sex and they're just there's a night where there's one girl and there's only two of you.
See, I think the Mo story has to be told before I tell the midget story because that's kind of where it led into. So the next one I think would be appropriate wherever I did the
Oh yeah, no, that was by no means chronological. It's just late and we're really hungover, so I was just going to throw them out there.
We ought to do the Sui Pig with Tristan and remember that one. That one's in the same lines, and then we'll do the Don't Be a Mo.
We got a Don't Be a Mo.
And then we'll do the midget, and then we'll start picking out random ones from there. But I guess I feel like that's a good, reliable pathway to get to that one.
Yeah, because say what you want, I'm sitting across from a guy who had sex with a verifiable midget and then told on himself. And then there were other weird, cool things that happened in it. And
hashtag olive oil.
Hashtag olive oil. Don't be a mo. And that'll probably conclude our time here on the Bachelor Pad Airlines. You can kindly make your way to the exit row and go fuck yourself. I'm going home.
I'm going home too.
Yeah, we live in the same place.
True.